Hello friends, thank you for watching. I wanted to talk about how to best get over a breakup, how to heal, and how to get out of it looking and feeling good and just move on faster. Because anybody that's been through a heartbreak knows that sometimes it takes a while to move on. So I wanted to make a video and help anybody out there that is dealing with a broken heart. If you've watched any of my previous relationships or personal growth videos, you know that I've been through my fair share of painful breakups, and I've also been through a divorce. So I really know what it's like to suffer out of love. For those reasons, I was conflicted. I didn't know if I should keep some of the more upbeat tone I usually have in my videos or come down to a more serious note. But then I thought about how many of you have messaged me telling me I'm like a sister. So I'd like to be that for you today and go through both those stages, but focus more on healing and on a more positive energy. So if you would like to get some ideas and some inspirational tips to get over a breakup, then please keep watching and subscribe to my channel for more. When I was going through my heartbreaks and I was trying to find any guidance out there, many, and I mean many blogs and such, were talking about the importance of moving on. And I agree, but if we move on too fast, we move on superficially. So who's to say that the sadness and anger that we haven't properly dealt with won't come out perhaps at a bad time or in a bad way? So what I recommend for everybody going through a breakup is to not rush into thinking about getting out there and getting over what's happening in a hot second. No, feel sad, cry. It's okay to do that. It's okay to feel the loss of somebody you loved. If you feel anger, take it out. Just take it out on your pillow. Don't punch or break stuff, because that will only make you feel worse afterwards. Trust me on that. But go through those emotions and let yourself feel. And yes, I do believe that we need to go through a grieving period, but I also believe that this period should and needs to have a time cap. 4 months of staying in, watching sappy movies, and eating our feelings away won't exactly take us to a pretty place, and we are only going to end up feeling worse about ourselves, about our lives, about our situations. So what I would do is give yourself a grieving period based on how long you two were together. If you were together 6 months or less, I'd say 2 weeks. But spend those 2 weeks feeling sad, crying, being mad, allowing yourself to go through those motions and go through that grief. If you were together 1 year, then I'd say 3 weeks. A year and a half through 5 years, I'd give it a month. 5 to 10 years, 2 months. Anything 10 plus years, I would say about 3 months of grieving and being sad. And during those periods, take your time. Like I said, don't think about jumping into going out and rebounding. Just focus on yourself and your feelings and take it all in. I always say that I'm not a therapist, I'm not a doctor of any sorts, and what I share is purely from what I've seen and what I've gone through. So if you're wondering what's up with these timelines, they're essentially just amounts of time that I feel are sufficient for release, but not long enough to cause stagnation or future damage. These timelines are just guiding points though, so if you need less time or a little bit more time, just listen to your body. Always keep in mind though that the sooner you let everything out and grieve fully, the better. I also listed these ideas of timelines in the video description below to help you see everything at a glance. So take a look and agree on a period, then mark it on your calendar, both on your paper calendar if you have one and the calendar on your phone. Mark the last day of the grieving period as such, and also mark the first day in your new beginning as well. That will be your fresh start, the beginning of your new and even better journey. Set an alarm to go off 3 days before that beginning date, then a second alarm to go off the night before, and then one to go off the morning of to remind you this is a new day so you can get going. Day of, I would like for you to go to the mirror the first thing when you wake up. Place your hands on your chest, look at yourself square in the eyes and say, I love you. I love you, insert name. I love you. If you could do that every day, that would be great. You could even rename your alarm clock, something that will remind you to do this, but basically you are verbally and mentally going to reassert the love you have for yourself so you can subconsciously be reminded of the importance of doing the things you need to do to move on. Because you love yourself, you will take care of yourself. Now, during that grieving period I just mentioned, a great idea would be to start journaling. Writing things down on paper can be a really powerful outlet to release many of those emotions. And I also recommend to continue journaling even after the period is done into your new shift. Journaling will be helpful in the healing process because it could help to start recognizing potential patterns as well. There could be certain times in the day when you are more vulnerable to the feelings of sadness. Perhaps certain visual sounds or people can bring that out of you. And so tracking what's going on in your life on a daily basis will help give you a powerful reflective eye into what's going on and what changes you could make. You don't have to write long stories if you don't have a lot of time. Simply write down 3 or 4 lines highlighting your day, what may have happened, how you felt, and when. Be honest and let your thoughts come out on paper because nobody is going to judge you. Keeping a journal, though, will help you even see your progress. If you did something a while back that really elevated your mood, you can go back through those notes and you may very well have an aha moment and discover a new coping technique you can repeat daily or when needed. Oh, I forgot about that. And just like that, you can start doing it again and feeling good again. Understanding yourself and what works for you is a really big part of healing. Now, during a breakup, many of us start obsessively thinking about the other person, about how things were and what went wrong. We also talk about it so much over and over again, and deep down we feel like we need it. We need that release. I found in my own skin, though, that doing that has not only its pros, but its cons as well. Pros because yes, you do feel better, but cons because for some reason that relief is temporary, and then like a drug, we need our fix again. So we need to talk about it again, and then there we are in a vicious cycle. During that grieving period, talk as much as you want. Let it all out. That's the whole purpose of it. But once that alarm goes off and you're officially on the first day of your new journey, that shit has to really be cut back. And one of the best ways to do that is to be aware of your feelings. We live in a day and age where many of us are walking zombies. I'm guilty of that. Our minds are always racing. We're always on our way somewhere to do something. We get so caught up, we become less mindful of our own inner emotions as well as the world around us. So earlier this year, I made a video that is one of my favorites from a topic standpoint, and I linked it below for you. The video is about how to not take things personally, but in there, I shared with you a technique I use to clear my head that I think is very efficient. Also, and this is very important, in today's email, I wrote about some ways to start living in the now. I shared some books on the topic of mindfulness that you could read, and another technique that I use to be present. That technique will help you catch your thoughts before they become emotions, and even further before they become actions. So please check your inbox, and if you haven't opted to get the email I send out, there is a link below and you can sign up today. And when you do, you'll get a welcome email from me with the link to the content I just mentioned, as well as access to all the content previously posted that is exclusive to the subscribers. So you have full access to all the tips I've written so far and shared privately, so you can work on becoming more present. You hear everywhere, you should live in the now, you should be present, and your world will change. But if you're like me, that's so much easier said than done. So those tips will help. The next thing I'd like for you to do in this process is to keep your distance. Even if you guys decided to remain friends, which honestly is something I don't personally do, I don't believe in or agree with, but if you did, a break is necessary. Even if both of you agree it's only temporary, you need time to heal. So that means not seeing the other person, their friends, or their family. No calls, texts, or emails. No Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, etc. Don't even check their profiles. What for? How is curiosity going to help you move past this? You can check those profiles out if you want after you regroup and get stronger, but till then, curiosity killed the cat. I'm pretty sure many of us have heard that saying. And by the way, using a proxy or a browser extension can help you block a specific web URL without blocking the whole website. So if you're ever tempted to check out the ex's profile, you won't be able to. And when you come out of that moment of weakness, you'll be so happy you didn't do that. I would at least look into it if I were you. A Google search will give you the answers on how to accomplish that, and that's something that you can always change back later after you get over this period. Now, if you have to see the other person, say you were living together, set different times when each of you will be at the place so you don't run into each other, and limit interactions only to what is absolutely necessary. Keep calls and texts short but civil, and remember, your dignity is everything. Even if your ego wants to get in the way because you feel rejected, abandoned, or embarrassed, remember that what happened is not indicative of your life's worth. So one of the best things you could possibly do for yourself is to work on regaining or gaining more confidence. In the interest of time, I will also link below the 2 videos I made about self-confidence because they will be great resources for you. And in those private blogs I've made, you will also find even more tips on confidence, so that should help. Another great idea is to write a letter to your ex, but not send it out. Here's what you can do. Write a letter saying everything you've been wanting to say to the other person. Write everything that's on your chest, everything that you feel. Write it, then read it out loud as if you were telling this to them. There's no point in rehashing what happened over and over again, so this process will help. Tell that person how they've hurt you or how you're suffering as a result of the breakup. Get it all on paper and then read it out loud. What will make a really big difference as well is having a symbolic ceremony that would essentially serve as the funeral for your relationship. We hold funerals for deceased people for a reason. It's because it's the formal way to say goodbye, and that is psychologically instrumental to us moving on. People do funerals even for people whose bodies were not found. That says something. So as silly as it may sound, holding a funeral will be able to close a chapter and help you move on. You can invite any friends or family members that you think won't judge, because let's be honest, you shouldn't be worrying about what other people think of this right now. There are psychological benefits, but many people don't know that. Either way, if you have a person or 2-3 people, or if you're doing it by yourself, that's what I did, just treat this as you would a funeral. Give a eulogy, say your goodbyes, cry if you need to, and even burn the letter you wrote to them that you didn't send. Gather all the things that remind you of that person and either safely burn them, throw them away, or give them away. Maybe a charity. The funeral and the getting rid of the physical reminders will be a cleansing of your emotional bank and your physical space. Clutter of any sorts leads to emotional conflicts, mental conflicts, feelings of anxiety, depression, stress, and so on. So this cleansing will allow you to discard the pain rather than recycling it. And now a digital cleanse will truly be a cake topper. Any emails, put them all away in a folder that is not named after the person so you don't constantly see their name. I wouldn't even name it X because that would make you think of them. Name it something ambiguous like the past, but clearing all those messages from your inbox and placing them in a folder will be great. Same thing goes for pictures and texts, etc. And since we're on a digital topic, I also recommend not posting any details on social media. There are many folks posting sad updates. They may think that doing that is some form of release or it will indirectly get to the other person, but the reality is that nothing good comes out of it. Not to mention that any friend asking, "Oh my gosh, are you okay?" will keep that wheel going, and social discarding is not the same as physical release, so we don't really even accomplish anything of value doing that. I believe that many of us have shared either vague or explicit posts at some point. I know I did, but the idea is to move on. So let's move on. Next thing that will help is to remove all the elements that might trigger your memory. A trigger could be a song or a sound that reminds you of that person. It could be a certain smell or a perfume, a movie or a show. This is a good time to maybe consider changing even the smallest things like your ringtones or a body spray. As you're in that process of cleansing, pay special attention to these little triggers that might not necessarily stand out, but I'm telling you, they will pop out eventually. And that's usually when we're either at our saddest moments or most vulnerable moments. That's weird, I know, but it's one of the many interesting ways the universe shows us that it loves us. So walk around each room, look through your phone, iPod, movie case, and consciously remove those triggers. That's a great way to turn on a new leaf. If you have items like jewelry or electronics, if you can part with them, then sell them online maybe, make a little money out of it, or simply give to a friend or family member. If you can't or don't want to give away, then place those items in a box and put that box away for a while. Out of sight, out of mind, you know what they say. Now, a very important thing throughout this whole process is to not blame yourself. Remember, there are 2 people in the relationship and it takes 2 to break up. Whatever happened, never forget that things actually have a way of happening that does benefit us on the long run. As hard and twisted as it may seem, it is the way things work. And we just have to trust the timing. Till then, don't continue hurting yourself. Follow these steps and everything else that I sent out. Good things will come. This will pass and you will be okay. It's just a matter of time and you can believe that. If you liked what you saw, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe for more. That would mean so much to me. I love you and I appreciate you for watching, and I will see you in a new video very soon. Stay strong. Bye.